Why do companies require people back in the office? Has the work-from-home culture already seen its better days? After the Great Resignation and reshuffle, are we entering a phase of the Great Recall? Recent data shows an ambiguous pattern. Firms of all shapes and sizes are asking their workers to return to their desks and stay glued to their seats. A survey by Resume Builder shows that 9 out of 10 companies are planning to get their workers back to the office by the end of 2024. Out of 1,000 companies surveyed, 30% say they could even threaten to fire the rebels who defy the company policy. As soon as Elon Musk became Twitter's new boss, he sent a memo to staff to return to work from office full-time. In an interview with CNBC, he called the culture of working from home morally wrong.
It's not just a productivity thing, I think it's morally wrong.
Looks like there are many takers of Musk's viewpoint. Companies like Amazon and Lyft are asking their employees to work from the office at least 3 days a week. Investment banking giant Goldman Sachs wants employees back in the office 5 days a week. Google is even factoring staff's in-office attendance into their performance reviews. And you probably didn't expect this. Video communications company Zoom, too, which is one of the main enablers of remote working culture, wants some of its employees back in the office. Amazon's president and CEO Andy Jassy thinks it's easier to learn, model, practice and strengthen our culture when we're in the office together most of the time and surrounded by colleagues. But are the employees buying the argument? According to a recent Bankrate survey, 64% of American adults prefer a fully remote mode of work instead of going back to the office desk. Only 14% oppose the idea of a fully work-from-home setup, while 22% are neutral about the two choices. A survey by Zoom showed that 43% of all survey respondents considered flexible working is no longer a perk, it's a basic expectation. Looks like employees are not going to easily trade the flexibility and comfort of working from home for those free snacks and ping pong tables. Bankrate survey shows 78% of workers supporting a fully remote schedule are willing to change jobs or even industries to resist coming back to the office. In May last year, about 2,000 employees of Amazon globally staged a walkout to protest the company's recent return to office mandate. So, despite workers' unwillingness, why are most companies so hell-bent on making their staff work from the office? Our research shows there are 4 main reasons. Reason 1. Productivity and trust issues. Yeah, you were right. Your manager probably doesn't trust you as much, especially when it comes to productivity at remote work. Despite the goody-goody talks, things haven't changed much at the workplace since the first batch of industrial workers were hired back in the 18th century. The lack of trust between the employer and the employee has shaped the traditional work environment. Most managers still want to walk around the desks to see their subordinates working. So, looking busy at work often becomes more important than being productive. When you are remote working, it's hard for your boss to trust that you are actually working and not scrolling your Instagram timeline. According to a study by Microsoft, 85% of leaders have difficulty believing employees are being productive during remote or hybrid working. In a remote working mode, employers have no visual cue to gauge productivity. A hybrid remote manager can't just walk down the hall to check who looks busy. 49% of hybrid managers, compared to 36% of in-person managers, struggle to trust their employees to do their best work. Only 12% of the leaders surveyed have full confidence that their team is productive while working remotely. According to Susan Vroman, a lecturer in management at Bentley University, through such mindsets of the bygone era, organisations are risking a real break of trust with their employees. And this productivity paranoia just doesn't affect managers. The same Microsoft study confirms remote workers too feel the added pressure to prove they are more productive than others. Are you also one of those stressed out about looking productive while working remotely? Do let us know in the comments section. Many managers think that returning to the usual mode of work will enhance workers' productivity. According to Resume Builder's survey, a majority of business leaders feel there is an improvement in productivity, revenue and employee retention after returning to office. Reason 2. Promoting collaboration. Which team has a better track record at arriving at a breakthrough? A team that meets in person or a team that collaborates remotely? Researchers at Oxford University and the University of Pittsburgh scrutinised 20 million scientific studies and 4 million patent applications to find an answer. The conclusions are unmistakable. Collaborating in person really did produce more breakthroughs than remote working. The findings are in line with what most managers already believe. Studies show that most managers think building a collaborative workplace demands the physical presence of employees. In the words of Dan Kaplan, a senior client partner at Korn Ferry, there's the popular argument that people are less connected to their company and to their peers without the office, which is bad news for employee engagement and retention. Let's listen to another expert in the field of workplace flexibility. Brian Elliott, the founder of research consortium Future Forum, thinks the individual free-for-all work policy doesn't work. There really is some benefit to getting people together on a regular basis to drive relationship building, mentorship, and collaboration. A prevalent idea among managers is that when workers meet in a physical space, like the traditional work environment, and share ideas, there is a greater level of trust and collaboration. People are more likely to share their ideas and reach out to help each other in physical presence. A study on more than 61,000 Microsoft employees shows that remote work makes spontaneous communication difficult, which leads to a lower level of collaboration and information exchange. So, promoting collaboration is one of the main reasons firms want most workers to work at the office. Reason 3. Preserving company culture. Culture is an intangible asset that sets companies apart. For instance, Apple's culture is driven by innovation, whereas the culture at Southwest Airlines revolves around employee engagement and satisfaction. Company culture doesn't only give a company a personality, but also a competitive edge. Culture creates unique value that is very hard for competitors to replicate. A 2022 Korn Ferry survey of 15,000 global executives supports this claim. The study reveals that about 2/3 of the executives believe corporate culture accounts for more than 30% of their company's market value. Most executives also think that employee participation and engagement are critical to building the company culture. The report notes that many of the executives believe they can establish and maintain a strong culture if everyone is, at least some of the time, occupying the same workplace. Companies with a strong culture, for instance, Amazon and Google, are most eager to bring back their workers to the physical office spaces rather than cocksenting to them on Zoom calls. Reason 4. Indirectly asking them to quit. Laying off is difficult, so when a company wants to let go of a significant chunk of its workforce, it often exerts indirect tactics, like cutting employee benefits. Experts believe that the recent mass layoff by many companies, followed by stricter remote working policies, is not a mere coincidence. Companies are strategically using remote working policy changes to give a cold shoulder to a large share of unwanted workers. For instance, there were several rounds of layoffs followed by Musk's order for the Twitter staff to return to the office. Similarly, recent layoffs at Amazon, Lyft and Google happened close to their policy changes regarding remote work. An employee looking for remote work or a hybrid work model is likely to quit and look for opportunities elsewhere when asked to report back to the office. According to a survey report by the ADP Research Institute, 64% of the global workforce have already considered or would consider looking for a new job if their employer wanted them back in the office full-time. Of course, this employee reaction is no secret to firms, so they are using this quitting tendency to hasten their downsizing efforts. These 4 reasons explain why most companies want their employees back in the office. Does this mean we are going back to the old way of working 5 days a week in the office? Experts believe this is not going to be the case and a middle path will emerge. According to Brian Elliott, I think the concept of spending 5 days a week in the office is dead. Many experts believe that despite the call for a full return to in-person work, most organisations are likely to settle for a hybrid mode. This will involve working only 2 to 3 days per week in the office, while working from home on the other days. Whatever the case may be, the traditional workplace is going to see dramatic changes, especially with the rapid development in artificial intelligence. See you soon with more interesting videos on the future of the workplace. Thanks for watching.